Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and today I want to review the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. I've had a lot of people ask me to do this video. I just haven't gotten around to it, so finally I had some free time, and I thought I would go ahead and do that for you guys. I absolutely love these figures. I highly recommend them, even if you have to go the route on eBay and buy the possibly bootlegged ones from some of the Chinese sellers. Not that they're all bootlegs in China, I'm not saying that, but it is a fact that a lot of the bootlegs of these figures come from the eBay Chinese sellers. So be warned. But even if you have to go that route, it's probably worth it because it's going to be really hard to find the authentic ones. Maybe you can, but it's not going to be at a very reasonable price probably. But either way, these are absolutely great figures, so let's go ahead and talk about them. I got these in the 4-pack box set, so they didn't come with the extra bases or the little baby turtles. I was able to track down some of the turtles though, and I picked these up. These are the little turtles that they come with if you buy them individually in the original packaging. I'm pretty sure there's 2 releases of them individually, and the second set does not have the extra stuff either. If you buy the original ones though, they come with the turtles. I suppose they probably each come with one of the TCRI ooze canisters, I'm not sure though. And I know they come with a base, like a little street corner type thing. But if you buy the box set, you're not going to get any of that, including this stuff. It won't be included. You'll just have what you see up here, the turtles and their weapons. The bodies on each of the turtles are exactly the same. The differences do come in the belts on them sometimes. If you look, those 2 guys have the same belt. I think this one does too, Mikey. They all have the same belt. The only real difference is Leonardo's. His stretches out to hold his scabbards, which I'm not sure if that's how it was in the original comic, having them both on the one side with the same curve, but that's the way it is on here. It's not the best thing, and they stick out kind of backwards, but it's alright, I guess. Most of the time you probably just have them holding the swords, so it's not going to matter too much, but that's okay. So Leo comes with his 2 swords, as you can see. The swords, the hands are really tight on these figures. The swords have the little cap that comes off on the bottom, so you can slide this part in, if we can focus. There you go. It's still kind of problematic because the hands are so tight. Even with stretching the fingers out, I still got a little bit of green paint on the sword. Maybe you can see that. So the hands are tight, so be careful with that. But it's also good because they don't have any trouble holding their accessories. Paint job's really nice. We'll talk about paint in a minute. So Leo has his 2 swords and his extra belt. Raph has his size. He can hold them that way or that way, obviously. So that's a nice touch. I like that. It's really tricky to get them in there like that, so be extra careful. The plastic's kind of brittle. Let's set him down. Don has his bow, of course. What else would he have? And it does come apart so that you can get it in his hand easier. If I can get it apart. But if you look, it pops out of his hand actually pretty easily, so it's okay. But it does snap, so you can separate it and put it in his hand a little bit easier. I do have some green paint scratching off on it. I don't know why they made it out of green plastic. I mean, I have some paint scratching off of it. You can see the green coming through. So that's not the best situation, but it's okay. You're not going to notice it too much. But it's a nice sculpt and looks good. And then Mikey has his nunchucks. They actually have metal chains on them, so that's a very nice touch. And he's got both of them. No place on the belt for him though. That's kind of a problem for me. Not really a problem, but it would have been nice. Like I said, they're all the same. They have different heads though. And as we look at them, I'll explain what I think about that. Raph's head looks perfect. He's nice and angry looking. Really no complaints. Michelangelo, kind of goofy looking, but he's supposed to be, so that's okay. He's got a bit of a smile on his face. Leonardo's face, he's got an open mouth and relatively bland expression, so personally I think he should be switched with Donatello's face. And you can pop the heads off and swap them fairly easily. A lot of people do that. I think this makes a better Leo and this makes a better Donatello, but that's not the way they did it. No big deal though. I mean, they are what they are, and I'm not going to change them because I would like to keep them the way they came originally. So that's okay by me. They look great on display. They're great looking figures. They definitely look like they're supposed to from the original comics, not from the cartoon. A lot of people repaint them and modify them, which is fine. I know a lot of people like the cartoon. Even though it was goofy and very juvenile, I still have a special place in my heart for it, so if I ever get a second set of these guys, I'll probably paint them up to look like the cartoon as well. They do have a black and white version of these guys to look more like the comics. Personally, I don't see a reason to bother getting it. These look great. Black and white looks, I mean, it's the exact same figures and it looks like an ink drawing, but what's the point, really? I don't get it personally, but hey. Alright, let's talk about articulation. They all have the same, like I said. So the neck, as you can see, it's got this kind of joint here, so it actually has the hinge and the rotation, and it's got, I'm pretty sure it's a ball joint in the head. I'm not positive, and they're so stiff right now. I'm pretty sure it's just an old school ball joint in the head. Yeah, that's all it is. So good range of motion in the head, pretty nice. Standard ball disc joint shoulders, full range of motion, bicep swivel built in, single jointed elbow, single jointed wrist. It also has the rotation in it like that. The same thing for the hips as the shoulders, just like Marvel Legends, really. So it has kung fu action. Ball disc jointed hips, thigh swivel built in. The shells are actually kind of soft, so, or at least on the front, so you will be able to get some decent poses out of them, and it doesn't look too bad. So that's a really nice touch. Double jointed knees. There's a pivot in the ankle, and there's an ankle rocker. There's not a whole lot of play on the ankle rocker, but it is there, so that's nice. The sculpt is great. Like I said, they look just like they're supposed to. Paintwork is pretty spot on. There's nice shading. They have that heavy NECA black line shading as well, so it looks like it came right out of the comics. There are a couple problems on some of them, like Leo, for example. He's got some shell paint on his thigh. You could probably scratch that off. I didn't bother. No big deal. It doesn't really bother me too much. And then with the weapons, the paint isn't as strong as it could be for the weapons, so it tends to scratch off fairly easily. And since they have the kung fu tight grips, it's a little problematic, but it's not a terrible issue. So not the biggest deal. Like I said, I highly recommend these guys. They're great figures. They display wonderfully, and if you're a Turtles fan, it's really kind of a must-have in my opinion. They are absolutely phenomenal, so go pick them up if you can. If you can't, sorry, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think I gave you guys a height measurement yet, so let me do that real quick before we call it a wrap. It's just about 5.5 inches tall, so they're pretty good size, and they're great figures. So thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for some other videos, and in the meantime, keep collecting.